Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So now I've got my bandsaw set up. Check out that video. It's kind of a new machine to me for setting up because not all 9-inch bandsaws are the same. Not all bandsaws are the same either. But the Mastercraft one in particular, if you didn't catch that video, I'll give you a brief overview. The two guide pins for your blades, top and bottom, top and bottom, you need 2 thou clearance on either side. Okay, there's a ball bearing as well back here. Again, 2 thou clearance, top and bottom. You also want to make sure that the pins are riding just a titch behind the blades. Like, you don't want them riding on the blade itself. You want them in behind the blade. Okay, more towards the back side a little bit. Not too far though. You want to kind of keep things as centered as you can. You may or may not have to adjust your wheel for your blade pitch going in or out. You want to make sure it's as centered as possible in the wheel. I've explained all that stuff in the video. So anyways, enough of that garbage. Let's get on to some fun. This is going to be the first official cut with the factory bandsaw bandsaw blade. So I've got this piece of wood here. It's just, it's not hardwood. It's actually, I think this is like spruce or something. But anyways, I thought, well, let's try and, cut this and see how it goes. So I want to try a straight cut first, so we're going to put our rip fence on. Now, if you have used these bandsaws before that have these cheap fences, I call it a cheap fence, because you got to watch how much tension you actually put on the pin, because you don't want to break your handle, but you also don't want to wreck the rod inside. So, good idea to kind of just set it up by feel so that it goes down nice and easy like that. And that's nice and secure. So I'm going to move the camera so you get a better angle on this. So I'm going to just turn it off, turn it right back on. Instant for you. Okay, so now we're set up to make our cut. Now, if you haven't used a bandsaw before, depending on which side you're cutting on, you'll have to set your throat accordingly. I like to keep about 1/4 of an inch of clearance above the workpiece, but you can actually get away with going a little bit lower, but you don't want to go too low. You want to make sure that the wood can pass underneath the back end as well. Okay, so we're just going to try doing a cut here. Now, I do have a pusher stick. There was a really huge black one that came with this machine. It's just horrible looking. It's like 12 miles long. So I've got the smaller version here, and we're going to need this in a minute. You want to keep the piece square to your fence too. Now, doing this first cut is also going to tell me if I need to do any more adjustment to the pins here at all. I'd say that's a pretty good accurate cut. That's nice. That worked out really well. That little push in on the corner, that's just the wood that got dinged on, but it's even. So that's pretty good. I like that. So now we've taken off that edge. Let's do another. So we're going to have to reset our fence again. And this time we're going to have to actually raise the throat up, because otherwise we'd have to put the fence to the other side to take the same type of cut. So I want to go right about here. Now, another way to know too how accurately your fence is set up is take a simple measurement and see if your fence is actually on as far as depth goes. So check the back side first. Keep that as straight as you can. So that's 8 3/8, and we've got 8 3/8. So our fence is pretty accurate. a lot of blade height up, so it's visible. So if you don't want to cut it crooked at all, you have to slow down your pace. That was a much thinner cut that we took. It's looking good. So it looks like our bandsaw setup is really good. So that's alright. So there's our test cuts for that. Now let's see how accurate the miter gauge is that they give you with this thing. So one nice thing about this miter gauge is it goes into a groove track, which is kind of nice. It doesn't come out on you. That's alright. Now, with the miter gauge, you don't need your fence. So that's where I like to set things up. So it's just enough to pass it. Now I set this according to what they say is dead on 0. Pretty square cut. I'm happy with that. That looks good. Nice. So this thing's supposed to be able to handle over 3 inches. So I got a piece of 2x2 here. I'm going to take a slice out of this thing. I don't want to take too much because I actually need this for a project later. Okay, we're hung up on something here. That's pretty good. That sits pretty good and even. Looks nice. So, for those people who have got 9-inch bandsaws, whether it's Mastercraft, Ryobi, or what have you, and you've had nothing but a horror story trying to cut straight lines, you do have to do a proper setup. Refer to my video on that. With this machine, I was a bit of a noob on it, so only because it's like, okay, there's a control here at the back I didn't have on any other bandsaw, and want to know how that works, and you know, like I said, not all 9-inch bandsaws are going to be set up the same. Some of them have these round pins, some of them have square, you know, some have metal ones, some have some other material. You know, it varies, you know, and you have to make sure everything's set up properly. Especially probably one of the more critical parts, other than your bearings, or sorry, other than your pins, would be the bearings. Because if you have too much tension against the bearing, you can actually cut into the bearing and destroy the bearing. Okay. When I first started using bandsaws, I actually had to replace one of my bearings because, like everybody else, I was a bit of a moron, and at first, and I didn't do it 100% proper setup. You know, I went by feel on everything instead of using a feeler gauge. And of course, hey, we all make rookie things for mistakes once in a while with tools. And I learned from that. I learned that, you know, it's very critical. Have a feeler gauge. Very critical. Make double, triple, quadruple check your measurements and, you know, your thicknesses before you start cutting into stuff. You know, Very important. Otherwise, I mean, you can wreck your stuff. You can actually wreck a blade too if things aren't set up properly. But such is life, and that is our 9-inch Mastercraft bandsaw all set up and cutting wood, and no problem going into 2 inches, you know. And like I said, it's got a pretty deep throat on this thing. It's supposed to be good for over 3 inches, so you know, there's 2 inches there. So let's give you an idea here. Yeah, you're looking at, well, because of the back side, you're looking at about an easy 3 1/8 maximum cutting depth. So as far as thickness goes, going this way, 9 inches. Okay, so going this way, you got 9 inches to play with, which is pretty good, you know. So I got an idea. Let's do one more thing. Let's try and see how this blade scrolls. So let me just take a slice out of this board. Like butter. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty easy to scroll saw when you got one of these. Just gotta have the right blade. Anyways, such is life, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, smash that button and then hit the bell for notifications. You get more updates on videos. And I'm sure you'll see an odd video here and there with this bandsaw being used. You know, maybe I'll do a project where, hey, maybe somebody will request something and I might do something for them. Depending on what it is, of course. But I'm going to enjoy this bandsaw for many years to come. Catch ya. Bye.